Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Today we're taking a look at the Texas Longhorns 2022 spring game that just wrapped up. Absolutely electrifying environment. A lot of optimism around this program, and quite frankly, rightfully so. The talent they have on the offense side of the ball is absolutely insane. Should be a top 10 offense in the country, I really think so. Whether it's Hudson Card or Quinn Ewers in the backfield taking snaps, the talent they have around the quarterback is one of the best in the country, if not the best in the country. Before we get into the spring game, kind of my thoughts, takeaways. Just wanted to thank you guys for all the support you guys have showed the channel. Love making college football content, talking college football, and the support you guys have shown to the channel has been absolutely phenomenal. Again, if you guys like the content, go subscribe to the channel, like the video. We're doing all this throughout the summer, looking at different Power 5 college football teams, doing some NFL draft stuff, and we just appreciate the support so much. All right, let's get into this spring game recap. Let's start with the quarterbacks because I think that's the most pressing topic. Hudson Card, Quinn Ewers. Hudson Card probably looked a little bit more in command of the offense, was making the throws he had to make. Quinn Ewers, kind of a roller coaster of a day. You saw him just absolutely throw a beauty of a ball for a 70-yard touchdown. I mean, he has all the talent in the world. Rightfully so, one of the best quarterback prospects in the history of recruiting rankings. And you see it on the film. Like, he has the arm talent to make any single throw that you want him to make. Now, what's Steve Sarkisian going to go with? More of the known commodity in Hudson Card, who's going to make the throws you need him to make. He's going to take care of the football. Or are you going to go with Quinn Ewers, a little bit more of the unknown, who has unarguably the more superior talent, but also makes those high school quarterback mistakes? Keep in mind, this guy should be a senior in high school going to prom, but this is now going to be his second year of college football. Now, I personally think it should be Quinn Ewers just because you're Texas football. You guys expect to win national championships, Big 12 championships, should be making the college football playoffs. I think Quinn Ewers gives you the ability to do that more than Hudson Card. Hudson Card might give you an 8-4, a solid bull season. That's not what the fans want. That's not what I want for Texas football. Quite frankly, Texas football is just, it's more exciting. The college football landscape is more exciting. Texas football is dominating and they're at their peak. I think Quinn Ewers offers that a little bit more. Now, in terms of play, Hudson Card looked pretty in command, didn't make too many mistakes. And then you see Quinn Ewers, who missed a couple throws, but also made some throws that just kind of were jaw-dropping, that 70-yard touchdown. Absolutely insane. And that's kind of what excites you as a fan. And kind of why I'm giving Quinn Ewers the nod if it's week one, because I just think he opens up this offense more. And quite frankly, could be a potential Heisman candidate if he's starting. Now, whatever they go with, Hudson Card or Quinn Ewers, the talent around these guys is going to be top-notch. Bijan Robinson obviously not playing. Believe he was nursing an ankle injury. You know what you have in him. He's going to be the first RB taken in the 2023 NFL draft. He's the best running back in the country in my eyes. However, Roschon Johnson, probably another top 10 running back in the 2023 NFL draft. I mean, this dude is extremely talented, an absolute force. Ran right through, I believe it was Terence Brooks, that early enrollee freshman. He can do a lot of the things Bijan Robinson can do. And if Bijan Robinson is looking to split snaps, Roschon Johnson, I'm very comfortable with him taking the snaps. Keelan Robinson, the transfer from Alabama, is also a guy a little bit undersized, but just extremely electric in the backfield. Now, how are you going to get all these guys touches and let them impact the game? That's going to be tough. However, Steve Sarkisian, probably one of the best offensive minds in football. I have a feeling he's going to figure out creative ways to get all three of these guys touches and impact the game. However, it has to be Bijan Robinson getting the most work out of the backfield. But then again, Roschon Johnson, probably a bell cow at any other program in the country. This dude is really good. He just kind of gets overshadowed by Bijan Robinson, who's pretty much a generational talent at that running back spot. Equally loaded with talent is the pass catching unit. I say pass catching unit because the tight ends were also flashing. Obviously, Jaleel Billingsley, the transfer from Alabama. My tight end one heading into this year in the 2022 NFL draft. Obviously didn't work at Alabama. Comes over to Texas. I look forward to seeing how they get him involved. Javion Sanders, Javion Sanders also had a nice game. But just his pass catching unit. Isaiah Nair, the transfer from Wyoming, he just gets open. I mean, on those deep dig routes where he presses the DB vertically, comes back, catches the football. create separation. Xavier Worthy, you know what he had. You know what you got with him. Former Michigan commit, my team. Obviously, tough not to get him. Was one of the best, if not the best, true freshman last year. I think he set historic marks as a true freshman in Texas football history. You know what he has, just absolute game-breaking speed, the ability to be that deep threat. Then another guy that just has struggled with injuries, Jordan Whittington, also very, very talented guy. He probably is the most impressive wide receiver today in terms of getting open, was getting peppered by both Hudson Card and Quinn Ewers. Steve Sarkisian said that he was the best wide receiver in the room the first 4 weeks of the season before he broke his collarbone. That's saying a lot because Xavier Worthy was one of the best wide receivers in the country. Now, even outside of those top three guys, who I think it'd be hard to find a top three wide receiving group better than those guys. Maybe Ohio State could challenge you. Jahii Hall coming in from Alabama. Didn't see him in the spring game, obviously just committed this week. He's also very talented, does have a little bit of a baggage, and that's something I don't know. I don't know what specifically the baggage was, but I do know Nick Saban wasn't really pleased with his actions while he was at the Alabama program. But again, you saw in the national championship game, seeing his recruiting rank, this guy is super talented. Excited how they get him involved. Marcus Washington, also a guy to watch. Had a few drops, but he's also just a big body who they're going to like target in the red zone. Wide receiving group and running back group is absolutely phenomenal. However, it's really going to be wasted if they can't figure out the offensive line, which is probably the most concerning position group that I saw tonight. You know what you got? A lot of these guys are returning starters from last year. However, you have a ton of new freshmen coming in that 2022 class who aren't here yet. They were not early enrollees, but they'll get here in the summer. I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of those guys challenge for starting spots. I mean, these guys are top 20 nationally ranked players. It's going to be a position group that Texas needs to figure out because you want to get the ball to all these playmakers, but it's going to be hard to do if you can't protect up front, especially with just the three-man rushes that you get from a lot of those Big 12 schools. Iowa State, TCU's changing to 3-3-5. You're not going to get a lot of heat, but you got to be able to hold up. Got to be able to protect the quarterback, create a pocket where either Hudson Card or Quinn Ewers can deliver an accurate ball to these playmakers on the outside because it is a very, very talented group. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, probably the more concerning side of the ball, I feel like you're going to have a good offense with just the skill and the talent you have on the offense side of the ball. The defense side of the ball wasn't bad today. I think early on, they weren't really settled in, letting up some big plays, and just some good plays from the wide receiver ones like Xavier Worthy, Jordan Whittington. Isaiah Nair, some really good throws from the quarterbacks. However, after the first couple of drives, I thought the defense settled in quite well, especially up front. I have in my notes the Ovi Agafu. I don't know if I said his name right. Transfer from Notre Dame, had a pretty solid 2021 season from what I saw. He looked very good today. I think he'll be a very good guy off the edge. Alfred Collins also looked good, and they have some absolute dogs up front. Coburn, Tavondre Sweat, Moro Jomo, who you obviously saw his comments earlier on in the week. These guys are just big, nasty guys on the defensive line, and they look good. They definitely were looking better than the offensive line, I thought, today. So it's kind of hard to judge because is the offensive line just not great, or was that defensive line really just developing and getting good? But it was clear that the defensive line was probably starting to win most of those reps. Now, the biggest concern you probably have on this defense is that linebacker room. The Marvin Overshown, a guy that I was extremely excited about in the 2022 NFL draft class. Great length, great speed. Maybe you wanted to put on a little bit of weight. Apparently, they're going to give him some reps on the edge, those long arms and that burst he has. You could see that being effective, but you don't. There's kind of a lot of question marks at that linebacker room. You kind of saw that today in the spring game. Tackling was not great. It's probably to be expected in spring ball. You haven't tackled really fully since January, but I wasn't that impressed with the tackling, and it's been something Texas has struggled with for the last couple of years. Now, that being said, there were some guys that I thought flashed a little bit. I thought Jalen Ford, 41, he was looking pretty good. Devon Richardson, I believe he's a transfer from Liberty. He was making some plays. You just want consistency. You got to avoid the missed tackles, and you got to be consistent. I think that's just kind of what Texas has been lacking. Looking towards the back end, you have some more known commodities there. One guy I want to mention, Terence Brooks, from everything I've been reading out of Texas spring camp, he's been really good. He's an early enrollee freshman, so you expect that trajectory to just keep going up as he gets into that program. starts putting on some more college weight. But he looked pretty solid. He obviously missed that tackle on Roschon Johnson, who just pretty much treated him like a little high schooler. But again, a lot of good things to say about him. I know he was suspended from the team for a couple of weeks, but really good reports from what we heard from camp. Deshaun Jameson, you got to see that next step. He's a guy that can be a day 2 draft pick. Like, he's very talented. He's a ball hawker. When Steve Sarkisian was asked in that red zone drill, who are you watching out for in that defensive backfield in terms of interceptions, takeaways, that's the guy he said, ball hawk and cornerback. Ryan Watts, the transfer from Ohio State, he also had a lot of hype coming into the 2022 season. Didn't fully work out at Ohio State. They had a lot of problems on defense. He's a long, physical, and he's got good long speed as well. Cornerback, I expect him to be kind of that next cornerback. So you got 3 guys that you're pretty optimistic at in the cornerback room: Deshaun Jameson, Terence Brooks, Ryan Watts. Excited to see what they can bring. At the safety spot, you saw Anthony Cook have a nice interception where Quinn Ewers just kind of stared down the middle of the field. Anthony Cook just sitting there making a good play on the ball. Let me check some other of my notes. Oh, yeah, Maurice Blackwell. I believe he's a converted linebacker, just laying the boom. I actually liked what I saw from the secondary. The safeties kind of walking in the box, making some plays in the run game. Again, you got some guys that you're optimistic about, but you just got to see them put it together. This team can be really, really, really special if they can just have a solid defense. You don't need a game-breaking defense because this offense is going to put up points, but you got to have a solid defense. Overall, extremely fun spring game to watch. Probably the most enjoyable spring game I watched all day, and including the last couple of weeks, we've been watching a lot of them. Full tackling. It was very competitive. There was no thud rule. There's no two-hand touch. This was a full game, which you got to like to see because Texas struggled so much tackling on defense. A lot of guys that are exciting. Again, I got to keep your eye on Jordan Whittington, a guy that just has struggled to stay healthy, but a top 50 recruit, I believe, in the country during his high school recruiting class. He's got a lot of talent. He's just got to stay healthy. Him, Xavier Worthy, Isaiah Nair, Ajay Hall, who you're going to add, Jaleel Billingsley, and then Bijan Robinson, again, a guy who you didn't even see today, and they were running the football pretty well. Just a ton of talent. I mean, a couple of these guys could be legit first-round draft picks during their when they get eligible, especially Xavier Worthy. Really, really special group. I expect this to be one of the best offenses in the country, led by one of the brightest offensive minds in Steve Sarkisian. Very, very excited about the Texas Longhorns. Hope you guys enjoyed the content. Again, if you do like the content, go subscribe, like the video. We just appreciate all the support. And let us know in the comment section what your thoughts were at the game. Again, a lot of guys popping, a lot of guys that still have a lot of question marks. Overall, excited for the Texas Longhorns in the 2022 season. We're going to be doing a whole summer film on them too, giving you guys the recap. Appreciate you guys. We're going to talk to y'all later. Peace.